Hi, my name is Brenton Callaghan. I'm a lawyer here at Ruane Attorneys. Well, first, I grew up in Ansonia, Connecticut. I lived there until I was like 4 or 5, and then I moved to Bethany, Connecticut. I graduated high school, then I lived in Ansonia, I lived in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, just bounced around. I went to college undergrad at Southern Connecticut State, and I went to law school at University of Massachusetts. So when I was in law school, my favorite stuff were all criminal, constitutional, stuff like that. I didn't like property, I didn't like torts, I didn't like any of that sort of thing. I kind of always gravitated towards criminal law and constitutional law. I was always just naturally most interested, I think, and I think that natural interest made it easier, you know? When you're interested in something, it's like if you like history class is gonna be your favorite, you know? Well, I became interested in the law, I guess, when I was young. My father worked in court adjacent stuff. He did family services, things like that, so I was always aware of it. I knew people that went to law school, and so then discussing it, talking about what they were learning, things like that, made me really pique my interest, and I decided to give it a try. So the courthouses I'm in most of the time are Meriden, Waterbury, New Haven, and Torrington, but I also have done a lot in Middletown, New London, Norwich, Stamford, a little bit in Bridgeport. Oh, the type of cases we mostly handle go all the way from, DUIs, domestic violence-related cases, drug cases, gun cases, pretty much the whole gamut of criminal cases. One of the things I like about Ruane Attorneys at Law is that not only am I working hard on your case, but attorney Jay Ruane, Jim Ruane, Teresa Donardi, they're always there to help us answer questions. It's really a full team approach. You're not just having one lawyer looking at your case and helping you. You're having years of experience with those attorneys that are partners at our firm, helping the younger attorneys who have experience, but not obviously as much as someone who's been doing it for 40 years. Well, how being an attorney feels kind of changes by the day. When you get a good result for a client, things are going well, you feel probably about as well as you can feel in any profession. When things go poorly, or not necessarily poorly, but you don't quite get what you wanted due to the judge or due to some particular facts in a case, it really bothers you. You see some of the hardships clients are going through, things like that. Sometimes it keeps you up at night, bothers you in that way. But overall, it's probably worth it and feels good more than bad. I guess judges more you try to make like you than prosecutors. You want all to like you, it makes everything go smoother. You don't want to be known as a jerk or a liar. That doesn't help yourself, the client. No one trusts anything you have to say. One time, the person who's a judge now, like I say the name, but when I was interning in college, a lawyer came in and no one believed him. He walked out and they said to me, the most important thing is honesty in the law. And he said, if that guy says it's raining, look out a window. And the guy who's a judge now from the back of the room yelled out, even if he's wet. I was like, that's good, it's strong. So I guess you want to be honest, but you don't want to be a pushover either. You want to defend your client, stick up for them, but there's sort of a code to it, where you don't make it personal, you don't lie, you don't do things like that. You can sort of, be a zealous advocate without crossing lines, and they respect that, they're fine with that, and everyone just understands what it is. They deal with it all day long. It's really just in a personal way, not making things personal, being polite, being friendly. To me, it's not necessarily a battle all the time. It's kind of more of a dance. And then if the dance isn't going well at a certain point, typically like a trial, then it becomes a bit more of a battle. But day to day, it's kind of more, finessing things, moving with the system. You can't just push against water perpetually. It's going to work against you. Sometimes you have to let it flow by, move with it, know how to ride the wave. We went from dancing to surfing, I guess. But, there's times for a pitched battle, and it's not every day, all the time, for every little thing. So when you get a win in court, it feels good. There's probably some subconscious level ego thing that feels good about it. It's more like a job well done, a release of pressure, that sort of feeling where you can finally take a deep breath. You're like, all right, we got that person what they deserved and what they needed. You don't want to stay, whether things are good or bad, you don't want to dwell on them too long. You got like 72 hours to celebrate a win or, ruminate over a loss, and then you got to be on to the next thing for the rest of your clients. You just have to continuously go back to the well.